Hey y'all, it is June the 18th, 2020. I'm pretty sure. And we are live on the internet today. I thought we would touch base. I wanted to touch down with y'all just real briefly. We're going to have a brief broadcast today, I imagine. We're not going to want to go too long because if we do go too long, we're liable to get frazzled. I don't think that's necessary tonight. I mean, tonight's one of those in between nights. I believe it's Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. And so, I thought we'd have a brief, short broadcast because I did have a video earlier in which I said I was going to go on live. I was inspired to at the time, and so now I'm following through. All right. We're going to talk about San Antonio. Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about KSAT Explains. I don't know if they have a problem with me hijacking their name, the name, their name of their new little docu-series or whatever it is that they're trying to do. But right now, tonight, we're going to have as brief a synopsis on it, a little summary on it, a little analysis on KSAT Explains, which is a brand new thing. I'm sure you haven't heard of it because it's San Antonio local news, and I'm sure most people in San Antonio haven't heard of it because it's not even entertaining, and it is disgusting. But it is breaking too, so it hasn't caught wind. I'm sure, not yet. I'm sure it's about to catch like wildfire here in San Antonio. But I wanted to draw attention to it for dang good reason, as I explained in the video earlier. Basically, people hate America, and as we've been discussing, they've been following all sort of agendas and formulas in order to create as much calamity in America. So no matter what happens in America, that particular event, if it involves, say, a black fella, for not even to blame black people out there, because the media, they'll swoop on it, they'll spotlight it, they'll activate riotous behavior. You've seen that? You've seen that? So it's no different in San Antonio, even though San Antonio is completely different. Like, compared to all these other different places across the country, we don't, we feel y'all. I love America. We don't relate to y'all, man, no matter where you're at. All right? And I'm pretty sure where you're at, it's going to be diverse. It's going to be different. It's going to have culture. It's going to have history. All right? But this is pretty much going to be in dedication to San Antonio, Texas. Obviously, we're going to take a look at this little, just maybe the first few minutes, because I don't know how much we can stand, to be honest. You already know the formula. I just want to show you and reassure you that here in San Antonio, they are following that exact formula. So here you see the video that I shot earlier. All right, a lot of people see I got thumbs up for it, so I knew people would want to get a little bit of insight in on San Antonio. You'll never catch this anywhere else. I mean, why would you ever come across this video? KSAT Explains Unrest in America. And like I said, it's local news, San Antonio. So it is in regards to San Antonio, which is just unbelievably different compared to everybody else. All right, I mean, not everybody. It's like South Central Texas. All right, it's a different place. And so they're going to be slipping and tripping, and we're going to cover that. All right, but before we dive into that, I also do want to point out and make a mention to the broadcast. If you see there on the very far left, San Antonio and the COVID, and that's the broadcast. It's ran by my man, Greg Brockhouse, who I met one time. I shook his hand. We had a little conversation. I like the guy, and here's the thing, the podcast is on point. All right, we're gonna dive into some things and have a little bit of analysis before we get out of here on this KSAT Explains. And certainly to a lot of people it's gonna sound brash, all right, and a lot of people wouldn't like it, all right, but it's like I don't have time to figure out what people are gonna like so much. It's just that this outrageousness needs to be called out, and so I'm gonna do that. Meanwhile, Greg Brockhouse, he'll be all up on the broadcast, which airs live every Thursday evening, a little bit earlier than now. And he'll be on that, and he'll be doing his thing, and he'll be calling out the mayor just like I'm calling out the mayor, just like everybody should be calling out the mayor, except people are, they don't know who the mayor is, basically, right? And it's interesting. San Antonio is very largely non-political, as I've explained before. People don't hardly turn out to vote for the mayor. But I gotta say, because people like to avoid the whole politics thing, it puts their brain in a pretzel and stuff. That's why the politicians have been able to run rampant as much as they want to. And you can sugarcoat it all you want and stuff. I don't really have time for all that. And in that, I'm not a politician. I'm not having to run for anything. And I don't need no kind of diplomacy or anything like that. That's what you might come to this channel for. I see someone up in the building, and I appreciate you. That's why you might come up in this channel. Just because I simply don't have time to be so diplomatic as Greg Brockhouse. And I gotta say, I catch his broadcast. You can catch it on YouTube. Every Thursday evening. I like to do it. I love the broadcast. I love what he's doing. I love his style. Alright? I appreciate the man. And he's been going on. He doesn't have so much of a presence on YouTube, unfortunately. I noticed that I'll be like one of 3 or 4 different people, all of San Antonio, who watch the broadcast on YouTube. However, he does have a pretty big presence on Facebook, where it's more of a community, and people in the San Antonio community get on there. They state their opinion. They shout it in the comments and stuff. As I'll be checking in the comments. Oh man, we got Unwrapped by Brenda up in the building. Oh man, Unwrapped by Brenda. That will be the co-host. We appreciate her coming out for however long. It's going to be a brief broadcast. Tonight, we're just going to do a little bit of analysis, some of this video analysis of KSAT Explains. But like I said, before I do this, all respect, all due and proper to Greg Brockhouse. He does it much better than myself. I can only aspire to do it as good as he does it, and he's just sewn into the community like nobody I even know, to be honest. I don't know who's sewn into the community so much, or has the potential, actually. I mean, some people, like old people, have been sewn in the community for a long time, but Greg Brockhouse, he's still fairly young, and he talks to everybody upon his, it's amazing. It's an amazing podcast, and video cast, or whatever you call it. So it's just, and that's from San Antonio, and there's a number of people, actually, who I don't even talk very much about, like, say, the Drinking Bros. They're from out of Bernie, which is right outside of San Antonio. And they're fairly popular. I don't watch their stuff very much, but they're fairly popular. You got all sort of people. There's I always forget his name, but that one guy, Pags, Joe Pags, for people who know out there, like, he's from San Antonio. There's a lot of people from San Antonio, actually. And I think we need to all come together and kind of get an understanding, right? But meanwhile, KSAT, they got this thing called KSAT Explains, and that's what we want to talk about it. That's very opposite of trying to understand necessarily. You start to get the feeling that their investigative skills are not on point. I don't know why Rabbi Brenda just keeps saying hi to me. I need to get rid of that. How the heck? He said hi 3 times. I hear you. Rabbi Brenda, are you tripping out? Oh, man. Oh, and Rabbi Brenda just got hijacked. Either that or you tripping out. I see you, Brenda. Man, I wonder, it's time like these that I wonder if I have good audio right now, or if you can even hear me. Hopefully you do. Anyways, hopefully that you can hear me. We're going to just go ahead and continue in and just dive into it. Now, as you already know, we try to take it easy, because if I play a long portion of the video, I certainly will start buffering. So we're going to take it very easy, but we need to get a taste. You already got a taste earlier of why Mayor Ron Nirenberg should resign today. In fact, he should have resigned before he was elected. Unwrapped by Brenda said there must be something wrong. There must be. She said, I swear I didn't keep saying hi. Well, I'll take your word for it. All right. I don't know what I believe, but somebody was tripping out. Maybe I was glitching out. I don't know. You never know with my technology. Like I said, we're about to dive into it, but you never know with my technology. I'm gonna work on that, but there's some stuff I gotta share with you. Like I said, Ron Nirenberg, you already saw a little tiny taste, and if you saw the video from earlier, I don't know if you did, Brenda, but there was a video earlier in which I showed you, or I showed people out there, why exactly Ron Nirenberg should resign today, and in complete utter shame. All right, and we should just not even. I mean, all the best to Ron Nirenberg and a long, long life, and him and his whole family, and his friends, and everything. But he needs to get out of there today. All right. And I know it's not gonna happen. I know I'm speaking largely like over the top, but it should happen. It very well should happen. The thing is, if San Antonio was come together the way that we should be, and we had some sort of respect for ourselves, this man would not be a mayor right now, all right, today. So that's that was only a taste, but the rest of this documentary, which is I guess going to be a docu series called KSAT Explains, is going to be wild. It's not even just about Ron Nirenberg. It's also about some sort of Black Lives Matters movement in San Antonio. And the thing is, San Antonio, we have black people, all right? I don't think anybody disputes that. I don't think any reasonable person would argue against having that. Like, why not? They live here. They've always lived here. All right, so that's just how it is. And meanwhile, there's kind of a slight minority, just like in the rest of the country. It's not exactly. It's more Mexican and white people. And when I say Mexican, that's just like a slang term that we use. Basically, you're not from Mexico. You're brown. You're a brown person, all right? My older brother's brown, all right? Sometimes we call him Mexican. It's just funny, and we laugh about it. But he's brown. Thing is, a lot of people are brown. A lot of people are white. Some of these people are black. And then we also have, it's very diverse because of the military community. Just for people who don't understand, like, all sort of people from around the world come to San Antonio. Sometimes in large demographics. Oddly enough, they'll reside and patron a certain part of town and stuff. For example, a lot of Indians, and I mean Indians from India, will come around like the medical center area. You'll notice a lot of them. I don't know if they're still around there because I'm not around there very often recently, but it's just to say I don't have a problem with it. I don't know anybody who's got a problem with it. It's a very diverse place, but yes, a lot of white people, a lot of Mexicans. So it might surprise you to find out that the Black Lives Matters thing is even a thing around here. You might not have heard of any of this sort of stuff. That's because we really don't have a problem with that, right? As far as I don't know, police running around hunting black folks, it does not happen. It is a made up thing, all right? But KSAT explains, they're going to explain all sort of things that maybe we didn't know and explain that how it is a thing. Oh man, Brenda, YouTube's got a hold of your thing and they're trolling the crap out of you right now. I don't know if you know it, but I can see it and it keeps popping up. Everything that you say is like on repeat. Some sort of reason. Maybe you ate some donuts earlier and Glaze got on the digital device. I'm not saying that did happen. I'm just saying that's the type of thing that would happen to myself. All right, and maybe it got stuck on there. All right, meanwhile, you got 25 comments. I appreciate you. It's going to be the most comments I ever received on one broadcast. But without further ado, I set the stage. It is absurd. San Antonio does not have this problem. Y'all tripping and slipping, and you're trying to put it all on San Antonio too. And the reason is because of the secretly Democratic mayor. Of course, he doesn't want to say he's Democratic, but everything about him, and I'm not saying Democratic, I'm saying he's in the Democratic Party, all right, which is a complete other thing. He's slipping and tripping, and has been since day one. He's been able to get away with his tomfoolery with the help of the media, and we're going to go ahead and dive into a little bit of what the media wants us to know as of very recently. If we can. Oh no, you don't. Hold on, I gotta get that good audio. Oh, son of a bee. The speaker ain't in.
Most people have seen this disturbing video. It shows George Floyd, an unarmed black man, dying in the hands
What? Speaker? Oh man, the speaker's tripping. All right, y'all. Brenda, I'm gonna need a little bit of help and stuff. I wonder if audio's still coming in. I'm getting your comments over and over. It's like we've been sabotaged on this here broadcast. I don't want to think that we have. All right. I know on this end the speaker got all maladjusted and the audio isn't coming in good. That's crazy. I don't know if it's audio coming in right now.
Scenes like this playing out across the country.
I can't watch no more of this. I'm sorry, but like, if I see one more name of another brother, Dad, like I'm gonna lose it. Like I'm really gonna lose my mind.
Alright, it's like we could stop. Hold on, we could stop this video every 5 seconds. I don't know if you could hear it very good. The audio is not very good. I want it to be better, but I got it on max. We're gonna make this a short broadcast. The thing is, I think we're gonna do this more legit tomorrow night when things aren't going all haywire as they are doing right now for some reason. I wonder about my audio, if anything's coming in, or if I'm even on the internet sometimes. I left and came back. Yes, there is audio. Oh man, there is audio. Alright, it's kind of a dang shame because we've been like dilly-dallying this whole broadcast. So we're gonna do this broadcast even more legit tomorrow. I mean, while we're here, we might as well do what we can, and we're about to. But I mean, we're gonna do this super legit tomorrow as far as doing some analyses on this here KSAT explains now. I know you could hear me. Hopefully the audio is reasonable. I noticed that it is kind of low quality as far as oh man, Unwrapped by Brent is still doing it to you. You're still saying comments over and over. Oh man, I don't know if they caught up with us. I'm pretty sure. We'll see if we don't have all sort of technical difficulties tomorrow. You're distracting the crap out of me, Unwrapped by Brenda. But in the meantime, just, you could take my word for it. We are going to play a little bit of it. Obviously, all sort of technical difficulties. You could go straight to the KSAT explains video on YouTube and blow your damn mind in between now and tomorrow. But we are going to cover it tomorrow just because it's so damn... oh man, it's just so unbelievable. And so anyways, let's go back and start from the top just real quick.
Please, I can't breathe. Please, man.
By now, most people have seen this disturbing video. It shows George Floyd, an unarmed black man, dying at the hands of a Minnesota police.
Man, first of all, before we get into it, so many people have died since then. So many people have been killed since then. So many people have committed suicide since then. And if we were to watch it on video, these people getting killed or dying or being suicided, if we were to watch it on video and you were to play sad music in the background, would that cause you to want to riot all over the nation? Is that about how simple it is that we're talking about right here, right now? All right. In case that explains the thing is, I've said for a long time, they have no shame because they don't know what shame is. They know not even what they do. They know how not they even leave the front door in the damn morning. Somebody tries their shoes for them. Or they got Velcro shoes or some stuff. Maybe they're walking around in Crocs. Dude, I can't even believe it. Right, but it's a formula that they do ceaselessly. And you already know what it is. The music. You hear the pianos in the background. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. How many people have died, like I said, got killed, suicide, all across the nation since this very time? These people, it's beyond having no shame. It's that they're driven like they chugged two monsters, right? They chugged a monster and then a rock star, and then marched into the newsroom under their orders and went to town. It's so unbelievably creepy. We're gonna get a little bit of a taste of it before we get out of here, but just off the charts creepy, as you can well see.
Police officer. Within a week and a half, the 4 officers involved were fired and charged. Scenes like this playing out across the country.
I can't watch no more of this. I'm sorry, but like, if I see one more name of another brother, Dad, like I'm gonna lose it. Like I'm really.
All right, so I'm not sure. I don't really recognize. That could be downtown San Antonio. It may or may not be. Who's to say? These people look like they very well could be from San Antonio, if I had to say. Um, but if you, I mean, you probably heard him, but just to reiterate, he said, if I see the or hear the name of another brother, what does that mean? Wow, I guess it's kind of implied, right? All right, we don't really have to venture a guess on what he means by that. He said, one more name of another brother. He said, what? I'm going to lose it? What does that mean? You're going to lose it? Does that mean you're going to go to the ballot box and vote some people in for your best interest? Or what does that mean when you say you're going to lose it? What does that mean exactly? I don't think the news or the reporter asked him to elaborate on that sort of thing while he's wearing masks downtown, right? Which is a satanic ritual. I can't state it enough. And also, it is absolutely and completely, utterly useless in preventing this virus in which you don't see the results of, especially in San Antonio. And also, it could probably even cause you health problems to include your own fear, which is creating cortisol and everything else inside your body, which is developing cancer inside you right now as we speak. Your own fear is. And that's the thing. You have to be afraid in order to put a mask on, no matter where you go. That's always been the rule ever since I was a little bitty baby. Nobody wore masks except on Halloween. Ooh, it's creepy. Ooh, it's scary. Yeah, it is. On Halloween. Alright? So, a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more of this.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Black Lives Matter.
He said, I'm going to lose my mind.
In some places, those protests took a violent turn.
The sun has gone down here in New York City, and there are clearly different groups.
So in some places, these protests took violent turns and stuff. But you're talking about other cities, dude. I understand. I love all of America and everything, and good for them. Your local news. Why don't you talk about San Antonio in particular? No, because you want to play the piano music and you want to get all dramatic, and you want to say, "Oh, this and that's going on in other parts of the country." I don't vouch for other parts of the country necessarily. All right. Why don't you talk about local news? Why don't you stop having the most creepy voice as we go on? As we get a little bit more of a taste, I want to point out that you got every last dynamic. They thought of everything. They covered every base. It's not an accident. They did it completely on purpose. The piano music, this and that, the demographics. The fact is that we don't have the same problems here in San Antonio that other people have. We have our own problems. And so you got all this. You got the creepy piano music. And you also got that lady's voice. She's supposed to be like some trusted authority. Lord knows I can't be made to remember her name at all. But the thing is, she's got that voice, that same voice. And people would scoff at me, and people would laugh and stuff, or whatever. They would think any kind of way when I said, look, all these murder shows that y'all are watching that glorify murder all day, like, say my mom, for example, but any lady in San Antonio, as far as I know, above a certain age, is going to be completely enthralled with shows on the TV about murder. All right, they love it and they can't get enough of it, and it creeps me out. And they might say, "Oh, well, you're kind of like maybe you're sensitive." Whatever. I'm sensitive to murder all over the place. I don't want to see that necessarily. And I don't want to hear about it. I don't want it glorified in front of me, right? Call me a crazy person. But all these shows, they always have a narrator too. And that narrator does not speak the way of a human being, you'll notice. If you ever talk, like, for example, when you hear the narrators for these creepy murder shows, they speak in a way that if you ever spoke to me like that in life, I would leave. I would say, listen, I gotta go. And I would leave. And if you followed me, I would probably punch you in the face. And I don't even mean maybe. Don't talk to me like that. That is over the top creepy. And I don't know why you would talk like that. Don't ever. If you came over to my house and started talking to me like that, I would throw you out of the house at the very least. Physically, I would throw you out. I would push you out of the door. Don't talk to me like that. And meanwhile, it's completely acceptable for her to talk like that all throughout the murder shows. And to include this, you're going to hear the same tone, the same, exact same style when she's talking right now.
That are out here facing off with police.
If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
And an investigation now underway after an NYPD patrol car
Well,
drove
that's not
into
the
a
lady.
crowd behind a barricade.
But
I am dispatching
you'll hear the lady. Hold on.
thousands and thousands.
I just described that lady's creepy voice. You heard it earlier. She hasn't been talking. The voice you just heard, and it's always the same. It's always the same tonality. That's the voice of a reporter who's concerned and concise and here to tell you the news. And they'll bring it to you like this and stuff. It's like, yeah, I get it. But the thing is, it's gross. It's not even human. You're just regurgitating stuff. And then meanwhile, you got this other lady on the back end who I'm sure you're going to hear pretty soon. She's already spoke, but just in that creepy voice, that just slithery, fork-tongued voice that she has.
Heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
Some of which we saw right here in San Antonio.
Until
All right, so you got a little taste. That's the lady who I'm talking. Some of which you saw. And it's like, I mean, that was kind of, she went light on that one. Of course, she's going to ramp it up more, but she's like, some of which they saw right here in San Antonio. And it's just like, oh, God, you're creeping me out. Shivers down my spine.
we realize that Black lives are important, just as important as any other life, then no other lives matter.
These are the
You guys see, they didn't catch that. You might have caught that lady what she said, but I didn't hear it good enough. We're gonna roll it back just a little bit if we can, and get that lady, because it's so crucial. Every moment of this stupid documentary is so crucial, and everything that they say is so dastardly. To include this lady who has a bloodstained hand on her handkerchief. It's like, dude, what? I'm not sure what sense that makes. She has a bloodstained hand on her handkerchief. That's supposed to be symbolic, but I'm not sure on how it's supposed to be symbolic or what it means. But, okay, she's about to say something, and just like everybody else, it's over the top absurd what she says.
Thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property.
Some of which we saw right here in San Antonio.
Until we realize that Black lives are important, just as important as any other life, then no other lives matter.
I'm saying the demons within her have deceived her in order to kind of take over, and through her, what they expressed is that what she said literally was, until, and she put a nice thing in there. She said, until we realize Black people matter just like everybody matters, which is a thing that everybody agrees upon. I mean, there might be a slight minority who thinks differently, but really it's a slight minority, and everybody knows it. All right, she said, until we do such and such thing, she said, until we do A, B, and C, she says, then no lives matter. And she literally said that, right? And no, I'm sure nobody questioned her on it. She has a bloodstained hand on her damn face mask, and she said, until we do this thing, that this ambiguous thing we're demanding, then no lives matter. She said, literally, no lives matter. All right, you might as well put that on a billboard and put that on a t-shirt and stuff. That is your slogans. Until y'all capitulate, then literally no lives matter to you.
sights and scenes in downtown San Antonio tonight. Sky 12 over that location. You can see several police officers in the streets after protesters had taken over the streets.
But the protests and calls for justice have been largely peaceful, and those in
Oh
power
my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I know you've heard this. Every single local station has said the same exact phrase. These two phrases, largely peaceful and mostly peaceful. I know that you heard it. I know it's in your local paper. Largely peaceful and mostly peaceful. These, oh my God, the skullduggery, the absolute tomfoolery, the over the top, bending you over a barrel, and dog styling it. These people don't have no limit. They are here, and you don't think they'll totally delete or alleviate you and your family and all y'all's rights. You don't think they will? They're going for broke, right? They can't even go any lower. They can't go any lower than this. All right, so you're about to see some more wildness.
are now listening.
I have black sons. I have a black father. I have a white face and a black voice, and you're gonna hear it. I'm not going nowhere.
That is a belligerent lady, all right? It's not politically correct. That is the textbook example of a belligerent. Somebody needs to put that broad on the outside of the building, and everybody knows it. I know it's not like, oh man, people aren't going to like that I said that. Oh man, oh, you're going over the top. This lady is in city council acting a damn fool, talking about her white face and her black dad and her black son and stuff. Whatever, dude. That's not our problem. You're talking about nothing and nonsense. All right? To the point is, now y'all, this group, oh God, this corrupt group of BLM is seeping their way into San Antonio, and they don't just have the ear of the mayor, which is going to become apparent. They are an extension of the mayor, right? They're like his strong arm of justice.
We all make mistakes. There are going to be people out there who will be with you who will make mistakes. There are going to be people on my side who will wear a uniform that might make mistakes, but let's forgive that and hold me accountable for it. Because I'm the mayor of this damn city, and we're going to make change.
All right, so we're going to stop. We're going to have to stop it right there before I get dizzy, right, and pass out. I'm wearing my mask right now, so just for safety, all right, you guys? I want to point out, that's what I pointed out earlier. Is that Mayor Ron Nirenberg, he should have been resigned a long, long time ago. People are playing patty cake with this because we don't have no respect for ourselves, apparently. But I think we're starting to understand that we're being bent over a barrel, and doesn't feel very good. And you might want to do something about it before, first of all your rights are gone, and all your businesses are gone too as well. And they're literally just to let you know, here in San Antonio, the mayor, he's trying his darndest to make sure everybody's economy is done for this year, right? So you may or may not have a problem with it. Hey, the rest of San Antonio, the whole San Antonio might understand that they don't even have a problem with not having no businesses, not having no money, having to wait on a government check, and having to wait while you're wearing a mask inside your closet or up under your bed. If they accept that and they want to accept that, well then God bless the city of San Antonio. I don't know if I have to run away to the woods or something. Not to be all, oh no, I'm not a terrorist. I'm not. I'm just saying y'all are freaking me out. All right. But I'll point out before we get out of here, we got to get up out of here right now. All right. Pretty soon. But shout out to Brandon. You've been repeating yourself all throughout my broadcast, distracting the crap out of me. But I'm sure you're over there listening or something, or maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Maybe you'll catch a recording. But I want to leave out on this. I mean, this is staggering. Right? Literally, I'm glad I'm sitting down. All right, because the mayor, he should resign for all sort of reasons, and he should have, but we don't have no respect for ourselves. That's just case in point. You can make it very complicated if you want, all sort of ins and outs. The reason he's the mayor of San Antonio is we have no respect for ourselves. We might want to get a clue. But he should definitely resign off of just what he said. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're kind of sensitive. Yeah, I am kind of sensitive. You're going to say goddamn. You're going to say goddamn about San Antonio. You're going to say goddamn in order to describe San Antonio. And not only that, you're the mayor of San Antonio. You're currently the mayor of San Antonio. And you say, goddamn, oh man. It's like, of course he should resign, but here's the thing. You see, shout out to the guy who's right by him as we get out of here. You don't know who it is, but I've seen his name in the headlines and I've seen his face. I personally want to say I have nothing against this young man to the mayor's left. His name, I believe, is Farrell Clark. I have no reason to have anything against Farrell Clark, and I want to explain. He looks like a very young man who basically has taken advantage of some sort of opportunity, and certainly he's taken advantage of it. To what extent and how corrupt might he possibly be? Hey, that's none of my business necessarily. I've never heard anything about him. All I know is that see, the thing is, for all I know, he could have jumped on this BLM thing when it was hot and ready and quick here in San Antonio, simply because we don't have that problem. Might I reiterate? Yes, black people live here. They've always lived here. And we don't have that problem. Is there problems with poverty all throughout San Antonio in different various areas? Yes, there is. Quite certainly there is. There's certain parts of San Antonio that you'll literally enter a different world. And if you're not ready for that, you will be scared out of your mind until you leave that part of San Antonio. Here to tell you, it's not exactly based on race necessarily, all right? I mean, although you'll find certain demographics here and there and everywhere, okay? And there's very nice parts of San Antonio. I mean, it's a wonderful place, wonderful culture and history, but we got to get up out of here. Here's the thing. He said goddamn San Antonio, and so I got a problem with that. This guy on the right, I haven't heard too much from him, so I don't have a problem with much what he says. Obviously, he's taking advantage. Obviously, if you check out his hair, he's like a young Al Sharpton. And so I know what Al Sharpton is all about. He's about getting that money. He's about taking advantage of you. He's about extorting you, just pure extortion right there on Front Street, so everybody knows it. If everybody knows about the extortion, then what am I going to say to it? Shout out to the young Farrell Clark. He's just taking advantage. I don't... you know what I'm saying? It's not exactly for the benefit of America, but at the same time, ain't nobody stopping him. And now it almost seems like he has the ear of the mayor of San Antonio. No, he's just going to become a tool for the mayor of San Antonio. And meanwhile, the whole time, while Mayor Ron Nirenberg is describing the city of San Antonio as a goddamn city, I note the whole thing is rife with symbolism. You'll note that the guy in the back is literally wearing a shirt that you cannot make up. I mean, just, I don't know how good your imagination is, but a shirt that says God is dope. What the hell does that mean? God is dope? Like you're a dope? Where does that word come from, dope? It's because a lot of people, they might find me nitpicky and stuff, but we got to get out of here. I mean, dude, what does that word dope mean? Where does it come from? Does it mean a damn fool? Does it mean a dullard and stuff? Because that's what it meant when they invented the word. So God is dope. Oh, I appreciate your God is dope shirt. I appreciate it so much in the symbolism. And I appreciate the fact is that just like a slave, you're wearing a mask on your face. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't care what color your skin is. You're looking like a slave, and it says not a threat. You got a mask that says not a threat. All throughout history, masks have been literally used in the commission of a threat. By definition. You son of a gun. And I don't appreciate it. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. A little bit more legit. Probably will make some more time for it. And I appreciate y'all. Over the top. All sort of carnage. He's trying to shut down San Antonio, and I mean by next week. Right? I might not be able to go to the store ever again. Alright? That's what he's talking about. Anyways, I'll holler at y'all. It is June the 18th, 2020.